Good morning. Many of you have asked during the past couple of weeks for a briefing on the search and the salvage operations. That's been a very busy area, as you know, ever since the accident. And two of the major people working in this area have been able to come out today to talk to you. Colonel Ed O'Connor from the Eastern Space and Missile Center, who is the Director of Search and Recovery Operations working with NASA, and Captain Bart Bartholomew, who is the U.S. Navy Supervisor of Salvage from the Naval Sea Systems Command in Washington, are both here. And we'll begin with Colonel O'Connor.
Well, I'm happy to see you all here this morning and hope to give you a little explanation of the difficulty of the search and recovery activity we're involved in here. The first chart that I'd like to show you is a chart of the recovery area that we have designated as a prime area for recovery activity. It is a rectangle, 10 nautical miles by 25 nautical miles. As you can see on the chart, we've indicated the areas that are associated with the Gulf Stream, which is basically the entire search area. We're experiencing ocean currents from the Gulf Stream starting at about a half knot to a full knot, up to almost 4.5 knots. This is a difficult situation for the Navy to deal with in recovery activity, as well as difficult for us to deal with from the standpoint of getting remotely operated vehicles down to image components so we can do a good identification, a positive identification. I know everybody's been very patient in waiting for us to get these firm identifications. It has been difficult. Looking at that chart, you can see that it's a huge area to be covered, 250 nautical miles of ocean. Also, there are a few areas that are outside of that box that we also have to go and document fully. The next chart I'd like to show you is the chart of how we are conducting the search area. Next chart, please. This chart shows that we're doing a very methodical job using naval assets involving side-looking sonars. These sonars are tracking through the 250 nautical mile box, documenting every square inch of ocean bottom. As we identify targets, sonar returns, we go out with either diving teams, remotely operated vehicles with video equipment aboard, or other assets so we can go down there and we can identify in a positive manner what the particular item is. As you're well aware, we have done some initial recovery activity on an IUS location. What's shown on the previous box is the closest area inshore. It's in approximately 120 feet of water, and we're using diving teams at this point to go in there and do that recovery. Another area that everybody has been concerned about is the identification of the right SRB. I'd like to show you a sonar trace now that we have off of a location that we were able to track with our radars on the Eastern Space and Missile Center range, taking the right SRB very close to the water, getting a water impact point, then going out and confirming with sonar that this indeed was a debris field, and that's the term that we use because it has a lot of components scattered over a wide area. In that debris field, we have now placed the Sea Link, which is a small submersible vessel manned with a crew of 4, and they have gone down and they've taken video as well as still photography of the area. We've also recovered some small components. We're going to supply later to you some photographs that were taken of a hydraulic reservoir and a fuel supply module. I'd like to say right now that we now have positive identification from the engineers at Marshall that this is indeed a portion of the right SRB. Again, I would like to emphasize just a portion. What we have located is a portion of the aft skirt assembly in part of the aft segment. We are going to continue to document this area to identify more components of the right SRB. So I'm sure you're all aware this is a very important step to be able to identify it to this extent. We also have a videotape that we took on that area showing some of the components of the right-hand SRB aft skirt. You'd roll that video now. This gives you a good indication of the sea conditions we're working in. You can see those small white objects floating across the screen. That's indicative of the Gulf Stream current located at the ocean bottom. It's probably on the order of about a half a knot. The object in the center of the screen there is a hydraulic reservoir for the right-hand SRB. This is part of the thrust vector control system. That is the particular item that we recovered and identified through part numbers that was indeed installed on the right-hand SRB aft skirt. In a moment, you're going to see a fuel supply module. This is one of two stainless steel spheres that are installed in each aft skirt. They contain hydrazine, which is the fuel that powers the auxiliary power units that give us the power necessary to run the thrust vector control system. Here you see another part of the aft skirt with some insulation on it. Again, you can see that we've got a lot of small pieces on the ocean floor, meaning it's going to be a very lengthy process to recover all the components. We're doing very limited recovery now so that we can go out there with other assets and do a full photo documentation of the items as they lie in the ocean floor. We're also putting together analytic teams that are going to work with the photography that we have to come up with the best recovery technique and the best chemical and metallurgical techniques for isolating the problem that caused the failure of 51L. We also have in this particular segment of video some of the expansion nozzle from the right-hand SRB. It's a phenolic structure, and you can see some of the filaments that are coming out frayed from the inside. We are preparing at this time to send other submersible vessels out to this area to give us better documentation. And again, I'd like to say that there will be still photography supplied to you later, the completion of the briefing by Hugh Harris and his people.
Wait until we have a chance to get the mics to you. The still pictures that'll be released, we can, I think, get a shot of now. And you mentioned the depth of the water.
Yes, the depth of the water at the area that we found the aft skirt of the right SRB is approximately 1,200 feet. The IUS is in water depth from about 120 to maybe 150 feet. Okay, Hugh would like me to mention too that we are preparing the NR-1 now to send out to that area. That will be the prime vessel used for further documentation of the right-hand SRB aft skirt area and its vicinity. Now, we are in the preparation now of getting the crew briefed on what they will see out there in that area, developing detailed planning and documentation so they can go out there and do a job for us. It's going to be a lengthy job. The NR-1 is a very, very capable vessel. It's been used in a lot of oceanographic search and activities, a lot of scientific search activities. But again, it is a slow and laborious process to document in that depth of water. Okay, this is on the screen now is another piece of debris from the aft skirt. And I believe that is also a few of the fuel supply modules. A little difficult to see from right here. Yes, that is a fuel supply module on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Round circular object. Okay, we're going to be bringing that debris in off of the vessel that recovered that. They'll be coming in sometime today, hopefully this morning. And at that point in time, we will be doing other analytic checks with it, starting some of the basic analysis of what flight conditions it went through. Now, the NR1, we expect it'll probably be dispatched out to the debris site as early as Saturday morning.
Okay, we have video of the NR1 coming into port yesterday, which we'll run at this time, and then we'll go to Captain Bartholomew. This video was from the Navy documentation photographers, and we will also have stills of the scenes that you're seeing for release through the wires.
It was towed up until she got into maneuvering condition, then they slipped the tow and she came in.
Captain Bartholomew, if you'd like to describe what they're seeing in the supply ship or the mothership here, please feel free to do that.
When we operate the NR1, we always operate her with a mothership, if you will, and the ship we saw earlier was the USS Sunbird, which is the submarine rescue ship. And she towed her in, and during transit, the NR1 is towed, either submerged or on the surface, and then when they get into maneuvering condition, they shake her tow, and she comes in our own power. That's just a shot of her